My ex is back in town and wants to catch up. You don't need to know the details, she smirked. Sure, I said. I canceled our vacation, got the refund, and booked a solo trip. She texted, "Where are you?" I sent a beach selfie. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I was staring at the suitcase on the bed, double-checking the itinerary for the third time. The Maldives. 7 days. An overwater bungalow that cost more per night than my first car. I had saved for 6 months to make this happen, pulling overtime, taking on side consulting gigs, and skipping every boys' night out to ensure the bank account was bulletproof. It was supposed to be a celebration of our 3-year anniversary. But really, if I'm being honest with myself, it was a Hail Mary. Qley had been distant for weeks. Not that I had a bad day at work, kind of distant. The phone face down on the table, taking calls in the bathroom, changing the passcode, kind of distant. Every time I asked her what was wrong, I got the standard gaslighting menu. You're overthinking it, I'm just tired, or the classic, why do you always have to make everything about you? I thought the trip would fix it. I thought blue water and zero cell service would force her to look at me again the way she used to. I was the guy who fixed things. That was my role. I paid the rent, I planned the dates, I handled the crises. I thought I could handle this too. Did you pack the sunscreen? I asked, folding a crisp linen shirt. Qley didn't answer immediately. She was sitting at her vanity, aggressively texting someone. Her thumbs were moving so fast they were a blur. She smiled at the screen, a genuine, flushed smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. Qley, she jumped, flipping her phone over instantly. God, Mark, you startled me. What? Sunscreen, I said, keeping my voice even. Did you pack it? We leave for the airport in 36 hours. She rolled her eyes, picking up a makeup brush. Yes, Mark, I packed the sunscreen. You don't have to micromanage me. I'm capable of packing a bag. I know you are. I'm just excited. Yeah, well, contain it, she muttered, turning back to the mirror. It's just a vacation. You're acting like we're going to the moon. Just a vacation. It was a $12,000 trip entirely on my dime. She hadn't contributed a cent, which was fine. I earned significantly more than her, but the lack of enthusiasm stung. It felt like I was dragging a teenager to a family reunion, not taking my girlfriend to paradise. I walked over and put a hand on her shoulder. I wanted to connect. I wanted to feel some warmth. She stiffened. She didn't pull away, but she went rigid, like a statue waiting for a pigeon to fly off. I'm almost done packing, I said softly. Maybe we can order Thai food? Watch a movie. She checked her watch. It was 7:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. I can't, she said, standing up abruptly. I have to go out. My stomach dropped. Go out. Where? We have a flight Thursday morning. Just drinks with the girls, she said, grabbing her purse. She sprayed perfume, the expensive stuff I bought her for Christmas. She checked her reflection. She looked stunning. She looked like she was dressed for a date, not drinks with her friend Jessica, who usually wore sweatpants to the bar. Which girls? I asked. She spun around, her eyes narrowing. Why? Do you need a guest list? Do you want to track my location? God, Mark, stop being so suffocating. This is exactly why I need a break. I'm not being suffocating, Qley. I'm just asking. I'll be back later, she cut me off. Don't wait up. She walked out of the bedroom, down the hall, and out the front door. I heard the lock click. I stood there in the silence of the apartment I paid for, looking at the open suitcase filled with clothes for a woman who couldn't stand to be in the same room as me. That was the moment the denial started to crack. But it didn't shatter. Not yet. I was still the provider. I was still the guy who thought if I just loved her harder, paid for more things, and was more patient, she would come back. I was an idiot. She came home at 2 a.m. I was awake, lying in the dark, listening to her stumble in. She smelled like expensive cologne and gin. She didn't come to bed. She slept on the couch. The next morning, Wednesday, the day before our flight, the tension in the apartment was thick enough to choke on. I made coffee. She ignored it. I asked if she was hungover. She told me to shut up. We went to work. I spent the day distracted, staring at spreadsheets, but seeing red flags. I texted her around noon. Hey, just checking in. Still on for dinner tonight to finalize packing. She replied 4 hours later. We need to talk when I get home. Those 4 words are the grim reaper of relationships. I left work early. I sat on the couch, my heart hammering against my ribs, waiting for the execution. She walked in at 6 p.m. She didn't look sad. She looked empowered. She looked like someone who held a winning lottery ticket and was about to quit a job she hated. She dropped her keys on the counter and leaned against it, crossing her arms. "So," she started. "No, hello. I need to tell you something before we go on this trip." "Okay," I said, bracing myself. "Is it about last night?" "Sort of. Brad is back in town." The air left the room. Brad. The one that got away. The college boyfriend she had broken up with 3 years ago because he moved to London for a finance job. The guy she had compared me to early in our relationship until I asked her to stop. "Brad," I repeated. "I thought he was in London." "He was. He's back. Permanently. He messaged me a few days ago. And that's who you were with last night." She didn't even flinch. "Yes. We caught up. It's been years, Mark. He's going through a lot of transition right now, and he needed a friend." "A friend," I said, standing up. The anger was starting to boil, hot and sharp. "You stayed out until 2 a.m. with your ex-boyfriend, 2 days before our anniversary trip, while I sat here packing your bags." She let out a sigh, rolling her eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. "See? This reaction right here. This is why I didn't tell you. You get so insecure and jealous. It's unattractive, Mark. It's not insecurity, Qley. It's respect. Did you sleep with him?" The room went silent. She looked at me, and for a second, I saw the calculation in her eyes. She was weighing how much truth I could handle, or how much of a lie she needed to tell to keep her safety net, me, intact while she explored her option, him. "We just talked," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "He's different now. He's successful. He's exciting. He wants to take me to dinner tonight to finish our conversation because we didn't have enough time last night." I stared at her. "Tonight? The night before we fly to the Maldives?" "Yes, tonight. He leaves for a business trip on Friday, so this is my only chance to see him for a while." I told him I'd meet him at 8. She said it so casually, like she was telling me she was going to pick up dry cleaning. "You're prioritizing a date with your ex over our pre-trip night?" I asked, my voice dropping to a dangerous calm. "What exactly do you need to talk about that takes 2 nights until 2 a.m.? She grabbed her purse and checked her reflection in the hallway mirror, fixing her lipstick. Then she turned to me, and there it was. The smirk. It wasn't a smile. It was a half-cocked, arrogant curl of the lip that said she knew she held all the cards. She knew I had paid for the flight. She knew I was desperate to make this work. She thought I was too weak to do anything about it. "You don't need to know the details, Mark," she said, that smirk deepening. "It's called privacy. We have a history, and I need closure if I'm going to fully commit to you on this trip. Honestly, you should be thanking me for being honest. Don't be insecure. It makes you look small." She adjusted her strap. "I'll be back in the morning to grab my suitcase for the airport. You can call the Uber for 8 a.m. She looked at me, waiting for me to beg, waiting for me to plead with her to stay, waiting for the fight that would validate her ego. Something inside me snapped, but it didn't snap loud. It snapped silent. It was the sound of a heavy steel door slamming shut and locking automatically. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized I didn't love her anymore. I didn't even hate her. She was just a bad investment I had held onto for too long. I relaxed my shoulders. I unclenched my jaw. I let my face go completely neutral. "Sure," I said. Her smirk faltered for a millisecond. She expected resistance. She expected tears. "Sure, yeah," I said, walking over to the fridge and grabbing a water. "If you need closure, go get it. Makes sense." She studied me, looking for the trap. Finding none, the smirk returned, more triumphant than before. She thought she had broken me. She thought I was submitting. "Good," she said, condescendingly patting my arm as she walked past me. "I'm glad you're finally growing up. See you in the morning, Mark. Have the bags by the door." "Have fun," I said. The door closed behind her. I waited 10 seconds. I watched through the peephole as she walked down the hallway, texting Brad, a bounce in her step. As soon as she rounded the corner, I walked to the counter, picked up my phone, and unlocked it. I didn't cry. I didn't throw a glass against the wall. I dialed the number for the concierge travel agency I had used to book the trip. "Good evening. This is Platinum Travel Support," the voice on the other end said. "Hi," I said, my voice steady, cold, and precise. My name is Mark. I have a reservation for 2 tamale tomorrow morning. I need to make some changes. Immediately. I need to split the reservation, I told the agent. Keep the itinerary for Mark, last name. Cancel the ticket for Qley, last name. There was a pause on the line. Sir, this is a non-refundable booking. If you cancel her portion less than 24 hours before departure, you won't receive a credit. I understand, I said. I don't want a credit. I just want her name off the manifest. And I want to use the remaining seat availability to upgrade my ticket to first class. That will be a significant upcharge, sir. Do it. Card is on file. It took 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, I undid 3 years of planning. When the confirmation email pinged, a strange sensation washed over me. I expected grief. Instead, I felt lighter. It was the feeling of dropping a heavy rucksack after a 20-mile hike. I didn't stop there. I walked into the bedroom. The suitcase, the one she had mocked me for packing, was still open on the bed. I took out everything that could be considered shared. The extra chargers, the fancy camera she liked to use for her Instagram, the first aid kit. I repacked only my essentials. Then, I went to the closet. I grabbed my duffel bag. I packed my laptop, my passport, my birth certificate, my watches, and the cash stash I kept in the sock drawer. I wasn't just leaving for a vacation. I was evacuating. I looked around the apartment. It was filled with things I had bought. The 65-inch OLED TV, the leather sectional, the Dyson vacuum she insisted we needed. I couldn't take it all, not tonight. But I could make sure she didn't get comfortable. I logged into the landlord's portal on my phone. I submitted a notice of intent to vacate, effective immediately, agreeing to pay the lease break fee. Then, I called the power company and the internet provider. I scheduled the disconnect for the day I returned from the Maldives. She would have 7 days of lights and Wi-Fi to figure out her life. After that, she was in the dark. I looked at the clock. 9:15 p.m. She was probably on her second martini with Brad, laughing about how safe and predictable I was. She was right. I was predictable, predictably efficient. I took one last look at the apartment. I didn't write a note. I didn't leave cash on the counter. I didn't leave a rose. I took her house key, the spare one she always left in the bowl because she hated carrying it, and I dropped it into the garbage disposal. I didn't turn it on. I just let it sit there, a metal hidden in the dark. I wheeled my suitcase to the door, stepped out, and locked the deadbolt. I called an Uber Black. Destination, the airport hotel. I wasn't going to wait for the morning. I wasn't going to risk a confrontation when she stumbled in drunk at 3 a.m. I was going to sleep in a king-sized bed with soundproof windows, wake up early, and start my vacation without the baggage. As the Uber pulled away, my phone buzzed. A text from Qley. Qley, having such a deep talk with Brad. Time is flying. Don't wait up, I might be late. Make sure my carry-on is by the door. Love you. Love you. I looked at the words. They looked like spam code. A meaningless string of characters used to hack a system. I deleted the thread. The next morning, I was sitting in the first-class lounge at 7:30 a.m. It was quiet. I had a plate of eggs Benedict and a mimosa. The anxiety was gone, replaced by a cold, hard focus. I watched the planes taxiing on the tarmac through the floor-to-ceiling glass. My phone was face up on the table. I had set it to do not disturb, but allowed notifications from Qley to come through silently. I wanted to see the timeline of the crash. 7:45 a.m. Qley, heading back now. My head hurts. Ugh. Did you call the Uber? I took a sip of my mimosa. I imagined her in the Uber I didn't call, hungover, smelling like stale smoke and regret, rushing to the apartment. 8:10 a.m. Qley. Mark? I'm at the apartment. Why is the door locked? I left my key inside. She didn't have a key. I had the only working key, and it was currently in my pocket, thousands of miles away from being useful to her. 8:12 a.m. Qley. Pick up the phone. I'm banging on the door. Are you in the shower? We're going to be late. 8:15 a.m. Qley. Missed call, Qley. Missed call, Qley. Mark, the neighbor just let me into the building, but you're not answering. I'm freaking out. I buttered a piece of toast. 8:20 a.m. Qley. I got the super to open the door. Where are you? Where's your suitcase? Why is the closet open? She had entered the blast zone. She saw the empty drawers. She saw the missing laptop. She saw the lack of Mark. But her narcissism wouldn't let her understand what it meant yet. She likely thought I had gone to the airport ahead of her in a fit of pique. 8:22 a.m. Qley. You petty asshole. You went to the airport without me? Because of last night? Seriously? 8:25 a.m. Qley. Fine. I'm calling an Uber. You better be at the check-in desk with my ticket. This is so immature. I checked the boarding time. 8:45 a.m. She was 30 minutes away from the airport in morning traffic. She was going to cut it close. I finished my breakfast and gathered my things. As I walked toward the gate, I felt a vibration in my pocket. She was calling again. I let it ring. I boarded the plane. Welcome aboard, Mr. Last Name, the flight attendant said, taking my jacket. Would you like a pre-flight beverage? Champagne, I said. And keep them coming. I settled into the pod. It was massive, private, quiet. 9:10 a.m. the plane doors were closed. We were pushing back. My phone lit up. She had made it to the airport. This was the moment. Qley, I'm at the counter. Where are you? I don't see you. Qley, Mark, stop playing games. The lady is asking for my passport. Come here. I could visualize it perfectly. Her, frantic, sweating, hair slightly messy, slapping her passport on the counter, demanding the ticket that no longer existed. The agent typing, frowning, typing again. 9:15 a.m. Qley, what did you do? Qley, she says my ticket is invalid. She says it was canceled. Qley, Mark, pick up the fucking phone right now. She says you're on the plane. Qley, voice message, 014. I connected my AirPods. I pressed play on the voice message. It was a masterpiece of chaos. Background noise of airport announcements. Her voice, high-pitched and breaking. Mark, this isn't funny. She says you're in 1A. Get off the plane. You can't just leave me here. I don't have any money on me. Brad didn't. I just need you to come fix this. How could you cancel my ticket? I'm your girlfriend. Brad didn't what? Hey, give her a ride? It didn't matter. We were taxiing now. The engines roared to life. A deep thrum that vibrated through the seat. 9:18 a.m. Qley, Mark, please. Everyone is staring at me. I'm crying. Please tell them it's a mistake. Please. Qley, you can't leave me. We have a life. I love you. Qley, I'm sorry about the smirk, okay? I was just tired. I didn't mean it. Come back. The plane accelerated. The G-force pushed me back into the leather seat. We lifted off, the ground falling away, the cars turning into toys, the people turning into ants. Somewhere down there, in Terminal 4, Qley was realizing that she wasn't the main character of this movie anymore. I waited until we hit 10,000 feet and the Wi-Fi light turned green. I opened her chat. I scrolled past the begging, the threats, the I love yous. I typed 2 sentences. Me, you wanted privacy with him. I'm giving you all the privacy in the world. Me, don't be insecure. Then, I blocked the number. I reclined the seat fully flat, put on my noise-canceling headphones, and selected a movie. I had 14 hours of flight time ahead of me, and for the first time in 3 years, I wasn't worried about a single thing. The Maldives is exactly as good as the screensavers make it look. I arrived at the resort via a private seaplane. The water was a shade of turquoise that didn't look real. The staff greeted me by name, handing me a cold towel scented with lemongrass. They asked where Mrs. Last Name was. Plans changed, I told the host, smiling. It's a solo retreat now. He didn't miss a beat. Understood, sir. We'll remove the second setting from your private dinner tonight. Walking into the overwater bungalow was a spiritual experience. Glass floors looking down into the reef. A private infinity pool blending into the ocean. A bottle of Dom Perignon on ice. For the first 2 days, I didn't turn my phone's cellular data on. I used the Wi-Fi only for Spotify and reading the news. I swam with sharks. I ate fresh lobster. I slept for 12 hours straight. I realized that the knot in my chest, the one I thought was just work stress, was actually Qley stress. It was gone. On the 3rd day, I was lying on a catamaran net suspended over the water, a book in one hand and a coconut in the other. My phone buzzed. It wasn't a blocked number, it was a new one. Unknown number, Mark. It's Qley. I'm using Jessica's phone because you blocked me. You need to stop this. I'm scared. The landlord just emailed me saying we're being evicted, and the power company sent a final notice. Unknown number. Where are you? Are you seriously in the Maldives without me? I looked at the text. I looked at the ocean. She was still in the chaos. She was dealing with the reality of a life unsubscribed. She wanted to drag me back into the mud with her, to make me explain, to make me argue, to make me care. I didn't type a response. Words were too cheap for this moment. I opened the camera app. I framed the shot perfectly. My feet, tanned and resting on the edge of the net. The sweating bottle of champagne. The endless, blindingly blue Indian Ocean in the background. I sent the photo. Then I typed one word. Me, details. I watched the read receipt appear instantly. Then came the typing bubbles. The frantic, erratic dots of someone having a meltdown. Unknown number. You arrogant PR unknown number. I hate why unknown number. Brad was right, Abu. I didn't finish reading them. I blocked Jessica's number too. Then I powered the phone off completely and threw it into the safe. I spent the rest of the week learning how to scuba dive. I returned to the city 10 days later with a tan and a new lease on life. Literally. I had signed a rental agreement for a loft downtown, closer to my office, far away from our old neighborhood. The fallout, as I pieced it together from mutual friends who were still talking to me, was catastrophic. It turns out, Brad wasn't the savior Qley thought he was. He was a crypto consultant living in an Airbnb. When Qley showed up at his place crying, luggage in hand, explaining that her boring boyfriend had canceled her ticket and cut off the utilities, Brad didn't offer her a key. He offered her a ride to her parents' house. He wanted a fun fling with a taken woman, not a homeless girlfriend with baggage. He ghosted her 2 days later. As for the smirk, it was wiped off her face permanently. About a month after I got back, I ran into Jessica, the friend whose phone Qley had used to text me. I was at a coffee shop, wearing a suit, heading to a meeting. Jessica looked awkward. She tried to duck out, but I caught her eye. "Hey, Jessica," I said, cheerful. "Mark," she said, shifting her weight. "You look good." "I feel good. How's Qley?" Jessica sighed, and the dam broke. "Honestly, it's a mess. She's staying on my couch. She had to sell her designer bags to pay off her credit card debt. She keeps talking about how you ruined her, but honestly, Mark, even the girls are tired of hearing it. She bragged about meeting Brad. We all told her she was being an idiot. She made a choice," I said, checking my watch. "She misses you, you know," Jessica said, her voice dropping. "She knows she messed up. She said if you just talk to her, maybe." I held up a hand. "Jessica, stop. She just wants closure." "She got closure," I said. "It was in the cancellation email." I walked out of the coffee shop and didn't look back. 6 months later, I was promoted to partner at my firm. I started dating Elena, a woman who packs her own bags, pays her own bills, and doesn't have catch-up dinners with ex-boyfriends. We were planning a trip to Tokyo. "Are you sure you want to go?" Elena asked me one night while we were booking flights. "I know you just did a big trip a while ago." I smiled. I thought about the Maldives. I thought about the silence of the bungalow. I thought about the text message that ended a 3-year mistake. "I'm sure," I said. "This time, I'm actually bringing someone who wants to be there." Qley still tries to view my LinkedIn profile from a private browser every few weeks. I see the notifications. I don't block them. I like letting her see the details. The lesson: when someone tells you who they are with a smirk, believe them. And when they ask for privacy, give them the kind that lasts forever. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.